Hey everybody, welcome back to the Beyond the Peloton podcast. I'm Spencer Barton, author of the Beyond the Peloton newsletter. As always, I'm here with Andrew Vontz, but not like always, we're in person. As you can see from our very weird and awkward video setup, we just finished El Tour de Tucson, 102-mile race ride. They call it a ride. It's a race. Let's be honest. Austin, 11,000 of our closest friends raced 102 miles. I have the hiccups because the race was so hard, my stomach muscles are contracting as I speak. But Andrew, save me. Keep me from talking. What were your thoughts on the day?
Spencer, first of all, for anyone who's watching this on YouTube, I know you're probably feeling fairly intimidated by seeing my legs right now. I want to let you know that this is just another day in life. Everything's okay. We're here at the Tour de Tucson, and we had a great experience. I have to say, I can't think of many other places where you could be on pretty much a fully closed course for 102 miles.
I think we started on the highway.
We started on a highway.
Like a freeway.
Yeah.
Yeah, closed freeway going 30 miles an hour up slight hill. And that was just the neutral start. And then it was game on. But
yeah,
just to go back a little bit, give people some context on what the heck we're talking about. We were invited down to El Tour de Tucson. I don't think either of us were that familiar with the event. GCN did a video. Apparently, that El Tour people were telling me it was kind of not a big event until GCN came into the video.
Imagine how big it'll be now.
I know. It's like you guys might need to build more town because it's going to be that big. But we have Paul, who's like our liaison with this VIP group we're in, who's amazing. We love Paul because
Paul's phenomenal.
There's people lining up hours before this so the race starts at 7 a.m. So it's pitch black and it's the crit drama all over again. Paul takes us right around the front. We're with like George Hincapie, Bobby Julia, Christian Mandeville. We just come right in the front. Primo spots. Did we hold those spots? Not really, because I was going backwards pretty fast. What about yourself, Andrew?
Yeah, I had Chloe Dygert in front of me, and then diagonally I had Sir Bradley Wiggins. And then to my side, I had my co-host here on Beyond the Peloton. I had Spencer Martin. I did not see our guest, Matthew Riccatello, out there. He may have opted out today.
Yeah, I think he made the right decision. So yesterday at the expo for El Tour, it's like a trade show as well. We had a live interview with Matthew Riccatello, fifth at the Vuelta España, Tucson, hometown legend from Tucson. He was there with his parents. It was pretty eye-opening for a couple of reasons. One, like when I met Lorenzo Fenn last week, U23 world champion, but youngest rider in the U23 race. And I thought he was just a child fan of Penji Nasen. Matthew looks like a kid, like a child. And he's like with his parents. And you're like, wow, these guys that we hold up on this pedestal and expect a lot from are actually very young people in a vulnerable point of their life.
That's touching.
Yeah.
But thanks for pointing that out.
But the second thing we learned is he's not sweating it, man. Like we're all in our own heads. We're neurotic. What if I crash in this neutral start that's going through a dark downtown Tucson? Matthew's not stressing it. He's moving to Nice at 20 years old or however old he was when he moved there. And he's just like taking life by the horns. And I think maybe we're not built to be World Tour cyclists, Andrew.
Possibly not. I know that I'm not, because I'm keeping up my hot streak of basically not sleeping the night before racing. I will say, though, something I've learned from interviewing now dozens of world-class athletes on Choose the Hard Way is that this is actually super common, even for people that are extremely talented professional athletes. A lot of them, it's just part of their process. They don't get a great night of sleep.
Yeah.
It'd be better if they did.
Yeah,
but not everyone does. I'm thinking in particular of Heather Jackson, Alexi Vermeulen, who, if you watch Alexi and Avery or any of the other content in the Alexiverse, pros are just like us. He's often up changing, probably putting on disc rotors at like midnight.
When the disc rotors need to be changed.
Oh, before
5 hours before the start.
Before every cross race. That's it's kind of mandatory minimum. We won't get into it, but just trust us on that. And I didn't actually
cartel like laundering.
Yeah,
that might have been.
Yeah, I didn't have any bike repairs going on last night. just a little bit loud in my location and had some trouble falling asleep. And I just tried to roll with it and just showed up, not fresh as a daisy, but ready to rock. I have to say, part of the experience we've had at El Tour de Tucson included a lot of previews from people who are former World Tour pros or current World Tour pros, like Matthew Riccatello, if you listen to that interview, telling us just how terrifying the start of
Yeah.
this event is.
Started to get worried around Thursday when Christian Vanderbilt said he was asphyxiated because he couldn't breathe in the first hour of the event because he was that nervous to be in it.
Right.
This is a man who got fourth at the Tour de France.
Right. And if you're out there, you're mixing it up in large, maybe you're doing the shootout here in Tucson, you have access to those kinds of group rides. I would say doing as many of those as possible during the bygone days of yore when I was living in Los Angeles for a long time. It would have been Simi ride, probably would have been the optimal prep. Long Montrose ride. The Pandas and Ponies, I don't know about that one. I don't know if that's going to get you ready for, you can see Matthew Vanderpool there. I'm not sure you're going to get what you need to mix it up at this event.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it. The weird thing about this event, and sorry you weren't at the DoubleTree, you're going to be staying at the DoubleTree tonight because I'm leaving. We just have one bed. I actually was sitting here last night, like when Andrew, he better off in this bed. It's a big bed, but
We could have put a pillow between us.
we could have streamed it live. Like we're live on Instagram and it's us sleeping.
Yeah.
For 4 hours.
Yeah. You have to get the Beyond the Peloton Plus to get access to that content.
The weird thing is someone would sign up for that.
There's a lot of coughing right now. As Spencer pointed out, we're in a valley similar, probably not directly analogous to San Fernando Valley, but similar to Phoenix. You probably get some occlusion of airflow. And yeah, we're just coughing. There's a little bit of dust in there.
Yeah.
Quite windy out there today. We did just check the weather and wind conditions. It said 10 to 20 miles per hour. I was sharing with Spencer earlier. We'll get into it. It was an exciting day. Part of the course involved being on Pistol Hill, that's, I believe, the main climb in the shootout, maybe where the shootout ends. I'm not that shootout conversant. I've watched some internet content about it.
It might do the second hill we did.
It definitely does Pistol Hill.
That's a long way. I mean, yeah, I guess the shootout's 100 miles.
Yeah.
So we might have actually partially done the shootout.
On the other side I had already been shelled from groups multiple times. On the way down Pistol Hill, I don't have a ton of experience riding with deeper section wheels. And I just had this feeling.
It was so fast, like 50.
Yeah, it was like 50 miles an hour. And my front wheel was just like all over the place. If you're an expert in bike fitting or ergonomics, maybe you could tell me what I'm doing wrong. I've actually started to wonder if maybe I need to run a longer stem. Maybe I do run my seat pretty far forward. Maybe I have too much weight on my front wheel. I don't know. I also, Spencer and I've shared with Spencer something very personal. I believe my seat was too high.
Mm-hmm.
There's something different when you get out on a really hard 4 or 5 hour day. You start to learn some things about your fit that maybe are working totally fine in a 1 to 2 hour event.
Yeah, I was noticing that.
And then suddenly you get this feeling of, this isn't working great. So I had a literal pain in my butt today. I'm going to need to make some adjustments, but that's why you do these events. And
yeah, this is actually that, to be serious for 1 second, there's this big movement in professional cycling of like, why do they even do the races? Just go to training camp. And like Larry Warbass said with great wisdom, well, if the races weren't helpful, they wouldn't do them. Like they're not there for fun.
Right.
Like it is important to do a race. And actually one of the things that after today, I think is important other than pack skills, which Andrew's been on a solo training camp for the last year. And today,
really the last 5 years, I've had a few people, but my max group ride size this year was probably 4 people.
And it does really affect your ability because your nervous system thinks you're dying. Like literally, just like we're seeing crashes left and right. If you're not used to being in packs, it's hard to stay in the pack when that's happening. If you haven't been in the pack, and then also like equipment fit, stuff goes wrong when you're racing that doesn't happen when you're training.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking a lot during the race, what would optimal preparation look like? Where I live, I've got a great group of individuals I ride with. I don't have access to big group rides and races. I think that would really be optimal if you want to come down here and be competitive or ride in a fast group. That would be the number one thing I recommend. From a fitness point of view, something that I thought about many times today was it's very similar to being in the blob on Zwift, riding,
Mhm.
you know, pick your pace partner. I kept thinking, I wish B Genie were here to
Oh,
pace me right now.
all I was thinking about was Genie.
Yeah.
One of those groups where I can't be flying off into cacti.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit. So,
Well, we should say we were worried about rain, very worried. The rain did not, it actually is raining right now, but didn't rain on us. What we got was crosswinds. So we started into the wind and then we turned into the crosswinds and it was sketchy because it's, you don't get the full road. It's like cones. And then you get the dreaded, like you're, the echelons coming out. You can't see the cone. Suddenly there's a cone there. Someone hits it. Boom. Crash. I was actually dropped early and there was so many crashes that it allowed me to catch back on because everyone kept slowing down, but a lot of crashes, a lot of crosswinds. Let's pick up there.
yeah, that first hour, hectic. The pro group, I got dropped super fast out of that. And then,
So did Bradley Wiggins.
oh, it happens. Stars are just like us. There were the cones, and you're going from, at certain points, you're going from maybe 3, 4 lanes wide down to 2, and then down to 1. And at the point at which we were down to 1 lane, and there was a kind of a decisive hard right into an uphill. And I don't know where you were positioned at this point in time, Spencer. I was on the right side of my group, which you may have been in that group at that point in time. And there was overhanging foliage, maybe a sagebrush. I don't know what it was, but it was one of those situations you're going 30, 35 miles an hour. And then suddenly there's just a bush hanging out and, you don't really have an option. Like you're riding into a bush.
This happened to me. I ran into a bush, got all cut up
Yeah.
because the bush is here to keep.
He looks like Rambo. For those of you who can't see it,
It's like your blood's pumping. So
yeah,
I was like spewing blood when this happened. But I was worried, the dreaded, we were going to hit the bushes and they push your brake lever in.
oh
and
yeah,
then you crash. But thankfully that didn't
yeah.
happen.
That's why you don't run reverse brake levers, because here in the States, you can get that
Yeah, you're going to be on
side,
the right side of the road. You got to have that.
right side grab. You can
Yep.
Tokyo drift out of that situation.
Yep.
Fast forward, at some point, I see you, you're in my group. I'm about to get tailed off, and I realize I'm sitting on Travis McCabe's wheel. He has the Enjoy Cycling kit from my friend Vince Murdoch's club in Sacramento. And I was like, okay, great. This is a good wheel to be on. This is somebody who can close a gap. And shortly thereafter, the crosswinds really picked up and something happened, but myself, you, and McCabe were slightly gapped off.
Yeah.
Travis closed the gap. I think I got stuck pulling, and then, like all good friends, Spencer just sprinted past me, probably like 1,000 watts. I didn't mention this. About 20 miles into the event, I started to severely cramp. I don't know what was going on. It's been a long couple of weeks. There's a lot of stuff going on in life right now. And I stood up.
Thanksgiving's coming up.
Yeah.
That's going to
Most relaxing day
so
of the year.
relaxed this next week.
But I had the kind of cramps where, like, when you stand up, you get that feeling of, oh, my quads are about to rip off of the bone. And then you have to sit down. I let the gap go, and that was the last I saw of Spencer. And then maybe 5 minutes later, that's when I was on this long straightaway with this intense crosswind. I looked over to my right and I saw 2 people who I had seen earlier who looked extremely fast. One of the guys was screaming. He was very hurt. And then there was the guy from maybe Nashville. I don't know. The guy who eventually caught up with you.
Yeah, he chased for an hour. Caught my.
Yeah. I kept going. And then, like all great cyclists do, I just continued.
Yeah.
They have emergency
We should
first
say
responders.
these guys went down so.
They went, I think one of the guys had the look of someone who maybe broken more than a collarbone
I
based
thought
on the sounds I heard coming out of the ditch.
I thought about stopping. It is a weird thing where you're just like, I should stop. It's like, well, I can't stop.
You're going to get gapped
It's
off.
like, what are we doing here? Taylor Finney's the only guy that's ever stopped when he saw a friend crash, I guess. But yeah, it's not nice. But so yeah, Andrew's on the front. I'm waiting for him to exhaust all energy. Get me as close as possible. And the way you close these, Mark Cavendish taught me this. The way you close, the only way to survive in echelons, it's too much energy. Like if you stay and work in a group, you end up expending more energy than just sprint 1500 watts for 10 seconds, get across that gap.
Right.
And then once you're there, it's actually not that hard and everyone else is chasing. You look like a jerk and you kind of are a jerk, but that is the best way to manage the cross moves.
Maybe I'll sprint, Andrew.
Go.
Let's do this. Anyhow, I forgot that once you close that gap, I then ended up in that exact situation where I was with, I'm sure you saw this gentleman. He was riding a fixed gear and
bold choice.
Bold choice. And he started to work to close the gap, but I was struggling even to hold his wheel. And after, to your point, we expended a ton of energy. I expended a little bit less because I was just trying to optimally position myself to do as little work as possible while cramping. He eventually got us across, but it was probably 5+ minutes.
Yeah.
And then right when we got there, the group split again. And I was like, this is it for me.
Yeah. Cause it just keeps happening
over and over again.
I probably did like 40 or 50,000 plus watts sprints, but it's a weird thing because I'm sitting on the back of this group. I'm looking, I can see you. My heart rate's like 120 and I'm like looking at these guys in hell. And it's like, there's nothing I can, sorry guys.
Right.
It's like, that's just the oddity of crosswinds. Actually, today was like it's like, oh, you want to criticize cyclists? You guys want to talk about pro cycling? Well, why don't you get in these crosswinds and feel how it really is? Cause it's one thing to intellectually know it. It's another thing to like experience it. And it is brutal, these crosswinds.
Yeah. I think that's part of why, whatever you might think of how we're describing our experience today, that's why I think it's very valuable. If you're even a casual fan,
I think
go out and do
I
some
think
kind of race.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just helps you to understand the mechanics, the dynamics, the strategy of what's going on. And with crosswinds, like Spencer's describing, if you are in the main group or echelon, you're doing far less work than someone obviously who's stuck back in the crosswind. The thing that happens over and over again, though, especially on a course like today, where at that point we were one lane with cones, that's basically with the level of ability we had out there where you have no idea if you can trust. That's basically 3 bikes in an echelon.
Yeah.
And then if you're not in that echelon, everybody's sitting on the wheel of the last person. And then you keep getting strung out over and over because you're not getting any draft, even in a pace line if you're on the last person's wheel. And no one was forming second and third echelons.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, cause the best place to be in crosswinds is the front, which sounds like it doesn't make sense, but you're doing less work because you're rotating through. And when you're rotating through, when you're coming off, you're obviously not going that hard. And then when you're coming up, you're in the draft. But if you're not pulling through, you're in hell because you're getting no draft.
Right.
There's no more. Yeah. We all should have just had our own little echelons, but you don't do that in the moment. I mean, I was with Travis McCabe, if you don't know who Travis McCabe is, him and Eric Marcotte. I told McCabe this today. They seem like they emerged from the earth and just kind of started dominating. It's like 2 guys from Arizona, and they just dominated American professional cycling for 5 years. Like they showed up to US Pro Road Mats they were on Smart Stop at the time, went 1-2, and like we're beating all the World Tour guys. I think McCabe won multiple crit champs, and then he was top 3 road champs multiple times. Very good rider. But we both got dropped out of the pro group. And it's like, I was like, I'm going to follow this guy. He knows what he's doing. And it's like, it's unbelievable how much energy like he can save and how smart he is at riding around the group. I think that saved, because I got 20, 30 minutes of just on Travis McCabe's wheel. And then he eventually, did you do this? It was like these like crosswinds to hell on the way. Like we almost went to Mexico. We're just like going south. It seemed like it never ended, and then our group broke up like 50 times on this
Right.
death march. Yeah.
Yeah, that happened over and over. And then on the far side of Pistol Hill, that's where I don't know, something was going on. My inability to control my bike is a big problem for sticking with the group.
I think your stem is too short or too long. Because
Yeah,
I have been experimenting with this as well. Like the longer the stem is, I almost feel like I have more control.
yeah, it kind of feels more stable at
Yeah, you'd
times.
think you would be less stable, but the longer I can get out, because I took Lance's bike and he runs like a 150 on a 56 frame, and you would think that's too long, but it's not. It actually feels really stable.
Yeah, I might try that when I get home, although it's now snowing in Hope, Maine. Maybe I'll try it somewhere else. But
Yeah.
I think that might be the move because I think with the longer lever arm, maybe it's less sensitive to input from the wind. That's my
Yeah.
best guess right now. At any rate, then we ended up on a downhill section. It was probably what 1 to 2% downhill
It was,
with the tailwind.
yeah. We were going, in my group, we were going 40 miles an
Yeah,
hour.
we were also going 40
Yeah.
miles an hour. I was continuing to have problems with cramping. So when a group would come by, I just was like, okay, let's see what happens. I've experienced this many times in other events. I was having the cramping issue. I think my saddle I've noted is a little too high, and that it was extremely painful. I just couldn't sit on my seat comfortably for basically 85 miles. And it was very top of mind. However, I was there to complete this event and I just tried to make peace with it and see what happened with the cramping and with the pain that never went away. When people would come by, I'd try to get on a group and then I'd just stay on the group as long as I could. And on that downhill, I got on a group of 4. We were going probably 40 miles an hour. And then several riders from Project Echelon passed us on the left going probably 5 miles an hour faster than us. There was a left at the end of that section, which was 6 or 7 miles, I think. And then the professional criterium racers took the corner at like 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And
And it was a really weird area that it was like a pecan growing area. Which I was thinking there can't be any worse use of water, in the United States than growing pecans in the middle of the desert. But it was weird because there was like pecan trees all over the place. It looked like the
right.
Midwest, but we're in the middle of the desert. Yeah.
Spencer, I want to hear more about your experience. First, I want to talk a little bit more about mine. The next group I end up in, Project Echelon detonates this group. Not long after that, I end up in another group. And again, there are 11,000 people doing this event. If you get dropped, there's going to be another group. That's a nice part about this.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like a big, like I got dropped and I was with Eric Aller and Travis McCabe and a few other people. And I was like, oh, I guess this is the group. And then over 100, like 100
Right.
person Peloton caught us.
Yeah. So I was in groups of 2, 3, 4 people. I don't know what happened. Suddenly I'm in a group of about 100 people. It's Quinn Simmons. I believe it was Lucas Burgoyne. I could be wrong. I think that I recognize them. A few other pros. And then there was a pro from the EF women's team who had to be at least 6 feet tall, maybe 6'2". Looked around my height. It was very interesting the amount of times Quinn made clothing adjustments. That was one of the main things I noticed. Just like sitting up in the middle of this group in these crosswinds, just like zipping, unzipping, doing stuff, taking his phone out. And I just kept thinking, somebody's definitely crashing in this group. And I'm just thinking about, we have one of the best American riders here, somebody who's likely to win a Tour de France stage, in my estimation. And I just kept thinking, what if this is the day?
I mean, he's one of the best riders in the world.
Yeah,
It
he's one of
doesn't
the
really
best
seem
riders in
like
the
it
world.
because he doesn't ever put together consistent season campaigns.
Right.
Like the guy just got 4th at Lombardia
Yeah.
after breaking away from the gun.
Right.
And I guess it shows you the risk tolerance is so high. Like why is he even doing this?
I was thinking about that. And then I also thought his pattern recognition is vastly superior to that of,
Yeah.
he also doesn't really like I mean, he doesn't train with groups, right?
It is basically as our coughing would not suggest it, but for them, it's basically like a free 4 hours of training, I
Yeah,
guess.
totally.
Yeah.
I know that when he was on the Evoke cycling podcast, he talked about how he likes to do most of his training by himself. But I also know he loves to shoot out group rides here. I would say the skill level in our group varied between someone wearing shin compression things with the head sweats tail
We
and
had
hairy
one of those,
legs,
yeah.
right? And that's totally cool. Anybody who gets out there, I have huge respect for you. It's from that to we have world tour athletes. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, there's just their bikes flying, flying everywhere. You know, thankfully, Quinn had his hands on his bars, probably has 6 sets.
He knows when those crashes.
He knows when to crash. I just had that feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, somebody's gonna crash. We were riding in a straight line.
Yep.
Yeah,
We were doing this too, and I was like, this is the most dangerous time in cycling.
right,
Straight line, you're in the blob.
right.
You know it's coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, it is a slightly different experience, like for your body versus training by yourself.
Oh, it's completely different.
And then like putting out the same power, but going 30 miles an hour
Yeah,
for a long time. Like Keith Harper, who was on Motorola, always described it as like the flywheel effect. That's why it's good in motor pace.
exactly.
And I mean, would guess that's why Quinn likes to do the shootout and does this ride.
Right.
Cause you're just like 4 hours of like you're spinning so fast and then you're getting power from that. And I can't really explain why it's different, but it is quite different than like going 15 miles an hour up like Left-Hand Canyon or Boulder by
I
yourself.
mean, the torque is different. The cadences are different. I think it's that continual
And almost like
reacceleration.
mini sprints.
Yeah, it's the
like 600
reacceleration.
watts, boom, boom, 600, 600. You would never train like that by yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And Zwift obviously doesn't give you the bike handling or situational awareness or proprioceptive component. I think it does a good job though of recreating.
It does, yeah.
Effort.
I actually felt I've been doing the A one. I forget the name, Arvid or whatever.
Yeah.
But I actually do think that helped quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though my training's not been good and I took a week off the bike right before this. But yeah, it's like in that A group when you really have to close gaps. That's what today was like, but just for 4 hours.
So once you got out on the rollers, there's a long climb out to Helmet Hill, I think is what it's called. And it goes around this
Beautiful country out there.
Some mining tailings are piled up, and you did this giant circumnavigation of the mining tailings. Spectacular in their own way. It was stair step rollers, crosswind. What was going on in your group at that point?
It actually settled down quite a bit. I could tell people were, pardon my French, but fucked because at the climb, I was in the front. Well, the group tried to get away, and I was like, I'm not letting these guys get away. I'm going to go in that group. We get caught, and I just stayed on the front the whole climb because I was afraid of getting dropped. And I was like, well, at least I can like sag back, and I had to pee right before this too. So I peed I just like pulled over and peed on my bike, but it took me a really long time to pee. It was like a minute long pee.
Right.
And it's like, well, now I'm committed, and I can
Great for your prostate health. Go out and do one of these rides.
see the group riding away. And I was like, then I had to close it. So I had done a big effort, but I was just on the front up that climb, like top 3, because I didn't want to get dropped. And then I let myself like go fall back on the descent, which I thought would be not a big deal. Cause I was like, oh, it's like 30 miles straight to the finish. I can tail gun it. This is going to be great. No, because it's like brutal crosswinds. Like guttering into the oncoming traffic. It was maybe the hardest I've ever ridden in my life. But yeah, on the climb, things were golden. I was like top 3, boom. I'm feeling good. People were coming up saying they love the podcast. Life was good on the climb. What about your group?
I was just holding on for dear life. That's where Quinn and whoever he was riding with, they just took off at that point. The group totally shattered.
We had 2 guys and I was like, do not chase them. What? Because if they're strong enough to stay away, they're going to get away anyway. And we got them like 2 minutes over the top.
Yeah, of course. That went down. And then it was on that climb. At the top of that climb, I think it was mile 71. And that's when I went into AFib.
Ooh.
And I've gotten AFib in a number of races. And when it happens, I slow down a lot and stop if I need to. And this time I happened to be near the aid station, so I just stopped. I had some water and electrolytes. And like the way it showed up for me today was kind of like my heart rate accelerated and I had shortness of breath. And I was just like, okay, that's the end of going hard today, basically. And there's a lot more to that backstory. He was freaking out and asking, why is Andrew out there riding with AFib? It's okay. I've got it under control relatively. And then after that, I got into another group. But at that point, I had gone from, I was in a group going up the climb with people I could tell had spent a lot of time riding in groups. Then for the remaining 29 miles, I was with a group that I sense probably had not spent a lot of time riding around other humans. And as you noted, that run back into town was 30 miles of cross. There was some tailwind and cross tailwind, then really hardcore crosswind. And that had some of the only sections of the course that weren't fully closed. And I kept seeing these echelons because there were no cones at that point. I saw people going 4 or 5 bikes wide, and I was thinking, this is not the, not the spot you want to do that.
People coming at us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I ate some wind at that point, and then when it got reconed, I just used my relative greater experience to make sure that I did no work for the remainder of the ride and just hung on for dear life.
I do think, I don't want to sound like an old man. I'm worried the kids these days don't know that art. Because I was doing the same thing where I closed the gap to there was like a front group, and then I got popped because I was at the back getting no draft. I come back and it's like, I don't think I took a pole the rest of the time. I'm like, just motherfucking these guys. And it's like, I could outsprint you for the win. I could have outsprinted you. You guys need to know that. You should have ridden me off the back. Like, maybe people aren't taking it to that level of Tour de Tucson. But I feel like, yeah, if you teach a kid one thing in life, it's how to sit in a group and do no work.
Yeah.
It's a huge skill.
Your TSS should be as low as possible coming out of one of these events.
Yeah. I do think it is, though, like you almost get too addicted to it. And that's why, like, you see off-road guys like Vanderpool and Van Aert come in, and then it's like they're just on the throttle all the time.
Right.
And that's why they've been obviously very good, but it makes you better at road racing if you know you can also save energy.
Yeah, conservation of energy, just as important as the ability to put out watts. And again, going back to, if you happen to live somewhere where you have the opportunity to get out on these rides, which will be around traffic and can be incredibly dangerous, that's the best way to start to figure out, how can I make myself as small as possible in the right places to do as little work as possible. And I really, this is a topic for another time. I think that this is a huge impact of Zwift and Strava on competitive cycling and group riding in general, is that people generally, a lot of people, they're introduced to the sport now through Zwift, or they're going out and trying to get fast times on uphill segments, which is great. That can be a lot of fun, but you can't have the kind of fun we had today where I'm cramping for 85 miles and have debilitating
heart issues,
pain in my ass, and going to AFib and have a cardiac event on the ride. I mean, you can't pay for that kind of experience.
You can't get that.
You got to do it to yourself
on Zwift. That's not going to happen.
No.
I do feel like people are getting faster. This could be me getting older. Like I was like, that's got to be my fastest 100 miler. Not even close. Like 20 minutes off. But the wind, it was a hard course, and the wind definitely slowed us down. Like I'd be curious, like George Hincapie did 351. The winner last year was 330, Tyler Stites. I would guess the winner this year wasn't even close to that. So it wasn't great conditions. But I feel like people are really strong. Like our group was cooking. Like the last 25 miles, I'd say we rarely went under 28 miles an hour. I'm like, who is pushing this on the front? Like, it's just people can get so strong with these new tools that you just described. But then you wonder, like, are they bringing along the bike handling skills as well?
Yeah. And I was happy every time I was in a group today. I just thought, there's somebody at the front who's making this group go fast, and it's not me.
And it's not me.
It's not me. Thank God.
It's not me. And I can't imagine it being me. Like,
Yeah.
Get like, like actually gives you respect for people like Niels Pollitt. It's like, hey, buddy, can you go to the front for 4 hours and just like keep it around like 32 miles an hour? It'd be
Yeah.
good.
I'm actually thinking of BWR. And when we were at BWR, I was in a group with Dan Swenson. I don't know if you remember meeting Dan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd not forgotten Dan.
Yeah. Dan's awesome. Shout out to Dan. And man, Dan put in so much work. He pulled along a group of 30 people until it was 5 over the course of probably 50 miles. The guy's an absolute animal.
Well,
Thanks, Dan. I didn't do anything that day. I think I just pulled through a couple times.
I do have to get a cab to the airport, but I think we should finish. So I knew we were going to forget to talk about some important things that Tour de Tucson is about. I have an interview with Steve Morganstern, chairman of the board of Tour. We're going to put it at the end of this, and he kind of talks about interesting things going. The event that they've just built, the velodrome, why they built it out of aluminum. I believe the world's only aluminum velodrome. But I think the thing we should talk about is Jens Voigt's here, and he got second in the metric century, the 60 miler. So
Goes back to the sprint theory, sprint gravel, ultra sprint gravel.
yeah, I think next time we'd probably do the sprint race, because I did feel like a fool, like showing up, like I got to prove myself. And then Jens Voigt's like, I'm going to try to win that 60 miler.
Yeah.
Smart man.
Very smart.
Can you imagine like your whole year? Someone's year was centered around winning the 60 miler. And then you have like a notoriously strong ex-pro cyclist show up to compete against you.
Yeah. And Jens looks like he walked out of the world.
He
Tour
looks like he
yesterday.
could race. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Looks the exact same as he did in 2008.
like he is like at race weight. He would not say he's at race weight, but he looks at race weight. Like,
yeah,
that guy could race the Tour right now. It's nuts.
Yeah. He's tall.
He's very tall. He's tall as you. If not,
Yeah. Yeah. He's a tall person, and wow, isn't that remarkable?
so tall. That's my take on, not like lovely man.
Yeah.
He's very
very
interesting
nice.
things about East Germany at lunch, but
Yeah.
he's tall.
He's tall. And also, I think that we forgot that he was the world power record holder.
Yeah, because he was talking about how he wanted to take a few hot laps to velodrome.
And he did.
And we were remembering then that he did briefly, and I forget I would not say it was like a shining moment of the UCI that they reset the hour record and like got rid of the old times. And it was like anyone that does this has the hour record, and that's how Jens got it. But I vividly remember watching it. And then you remember who broke that record. You know this person very well.
Victor Campanera.
Yeah, it was Victor. Yep.
Yeah. Victor Campanera. It's Bradley Wiggins, also a world hour record holder.
I think he got it from Victor, I believe.
Wow.
And
Just
then
a cavalcade of
everyone that we've just been dining with. And then Dan Bingham, I believe, got it from Bradley Wiggins. And then Filippo got it.
And now this is a future episode, and now clearly Remco is going for it because.
Well, actually, interestingly, Remco said maybe he can't do it because riding on the track is like as much a skill. You don't just like, all right, 450 watts.
You got to be on the blue line.
And it like, Wiggins is can beautifully explain it, but the way you ride the banking can like push you along. And Remco maybe thinks that he can't, since he's not a track guy, maybe he can't do it.
He can do anything.
I mean, Ghana's pretty good, but yeah, Remco can do anything except win the Tour de France.
Except
that is not happening.
And if he can't win the Tour de France, he's going to have to set the world hour record. Maybe that's the next thing we do. We make a push to set a tandem world hour record together.
that would be.
We come back. They've got the aluminum velodrome. We learned everything about it. It's aluminum because it can expand and contract in a way that wood and cement cannot. It's elevated so air can pass underneath it to dissipate heat. And can you imagine, Spencer, how much heat it would have to dissipate if we set the world hour record?
Cooking on that thing.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can get a Sycon tandem bag. Maybe that's our next move. No, you've got to run.
Oh yeah, we should say Sycon. We both brought the Sycon bags out. They sent me some extensions, like they pad your handlebars in your rear triangle. I'm loving them. Andrew's jealous of
Yeah, Sycon. Feel free to be in touch with me at Hardware Pod. I'm envious of Spencer's phone.
I packed my bag in like 5 minutes after the race. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Too much power.
Yeah, I set a PR. 15 minutes is my PR for packing.
But here's
Rebuild. My
something
rebuild
crazy,
is 9
and you're
minutes.
never gonna think of me the same way.
Okay.
I didn't take my rear derailleur off.
Whoa.
Yeah, isn't that's like
How are you feeling about it?
I flew here with it on.
But you have some box thing that goes over the back of your.
True. That's
Yeah.
true.
So that's the deal. It's not like a regulation clean run. Right? If I didn't have to take the derailleur and the chain off, I could have my time. I could do it in 7 minutes. I thought,
It makes it really fast. Watch my rear derailleur just
yeah,
get absolutely shredded.
yeah.
What bike did you ride before we go?
I rode my Lauf Uthold. It was awesome, except for my errors and setup. I think I need to go a centimeter lower and probably a longer stem.
I rode the Ventum NS1. Dia was here, owner of Ventum. Lovely guy, very funny guy. I do think Ventum was great. I do think what made a major difference is these are not even the best zip wheels I have. I have like better zip wheels on my gravel bike that are wider, but having like these zip wheels with the wide tires makes you significantly faster, I think, especially coming into town, like with, the roads buckle here from the heat,
Oh,
like with how,
yeah.
can you imagine doing that on like 23s?
Well, Spencer, here's the thing. I also was running zip wheels. I'm wondering if I have narrower internal diameter.
You might get, they're actually, it feels like every zip wheel you buy is a different,
Right.
there's like no standardized sizing
Yeah.
across it. Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and it's not operator error. I need a longer stem and zip. If you're listening, I might need wider wheels. I purchased Conti GP 5000 TRs, 32s, and Orange Seal. I was just too busy with work and I didn't get to put them on. So I was running clinchers. I definitely would go tubeless. I will say,
PSI were you at?
what's that? I was at 64 PSI at probably 196 pounds.
Okay. I was at 60.
Yeah.
Travis McCabe told me to go with 60. I was like, Travis says it.
Yeah. I felt slightly overinflated probably.
What's funny is 60 seems crazy low, like coming from our era.
Right.
And I did feel like it was slightly too much.
Yeah.
I could have been at 50.
Yeah, definitely. But I would go tubeless. And I just wanted to remark that when that giant crash happened, not the one where the guy went into the cacti, which I didn't mention, when that guy did the hour chase back, we'll find out what your name is. You're from Tennessee.
Legend.
He had a Nashville jersey on, I think. And he had cacti. I'm not going to have the nomenclature right.
The prongs,
the prongs, I don't know. The things that are on the cactus that are
sharp.
Yeah. Like all over his socks, just like covered it. It was,
dude, you leave the road here and you're in cacti.
Yeah, it was bad. He was like gushing blood. It was like, but he heroically made the effort back. I think all of this is to say, go find something fun like this to do. We definitely recommend this event. I think you should come down and do it if you have the opportunity to do so. If you're able to do the Tour de Tucson prologue, I think that it's amazing.
I think it's pretty cool because we just kind of showed up. I was just like really disoriented. I was coming from Spain and London, then I came here. I was like, should I even come? I didn't even know if I registered for the event. Right. Like we thought like, we're going to have to go register on Friday. And then Paul guffawed and said, no, here's a backpack with all your stuff.
Backpack with all the stuff. No fears of having to camp out in the pen. I think people start lining up here maybe 2 or 3 hours before the event.
I can't explain how dark it is. You start in the dark.
Well, I know you've got to go. Did you have that experience in the first hour where the sun is coming at such an angle? Dude, it's impossible to see.
Couldn't see anything.
I kept trying to duck lower and lower to have someone's head block out.
It was really scary.
Yeah, I felt like I was on Tatooine or something. I just like the sun was so intense, and it was at a moment when I really wanted to be able to see.
Yeah, right. I was like really wishing I could see what was in front of me as we careened down a freeway. Yeah, going Mach 1. But Andrew, so we're going to hear from Steve. Any other parting thoughts before we go?
I just want to remark, what a wonderful hobby we have.
I would say today was the first. I don't know. Cyclists can be like kind of standoffish. Maybe I was myself. I would say today was the first day where I was like, I was like, people are pretty nice. Like, no one's ever been nice to me before, but I guess
Yeah.
because of this podcast, people know who we are and feel comfortable talking to us.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't experience any human interaction
And
during the entire 102 miles. No one talked the entire time.
I mean, that
It was intense.
it,
People
it
were
was,
very
it was
focused.
intense.
It's
Yeah.
an intense day.
And you think like, what could you think of? What fills your mind during that time?
Yeah.
I don't think I could tell you.
I was just thinking, hold the wheel and don't crash.
Yeah. Don't go into a cone. Don't get dropped.
Yeah, don't go into AFib. And if you do, calm it down and don't go into it again.
How far ahead is George? That's what I kept thinking. It's
Yeah.
like, he's got to be 30 minutes ahead. He's dropped us. This is
Yeah.
terrible.
I was thinking, I can't believe Spencer did this to me again. But
But now we have
I've got a few years on you, and I'm going to keep chipping away at this, Spencer. I'll come back.
today was definitely a little, there was like a fixed thing. It's kind of like my arena.
Mm.
Like, you got to take me on like a single track mountain bike race or something.
Okay, we'll find something.
The closing crosswinds, I don't like to do it, but
Right.
I can get there if I have to.
Yeah.
Except at the end of the race when I did get dropped.
Yeah, and if you have an event, we don't do this very often. We might come to your event. Maybe we can work something out.
And speak about it with varying levels of
Yeah.
niceness.
Yeah, but reach out to us. We're putting together our 2026 calendar, some pretty massive things in the works. So you might want to tie your hair back if it's long. Otherwise, it's going to get blown back because we're going to blow you away.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me, Andrew, in this
It's great to be
strange
here
land we call
in
Tucson.
this
And
space with you.
we're about to hear from Steve, and then the episode will end.
My name is Steve Morganstern. I'm the chairman of the board for Perimeter Cycling Association of America, which puts on the Tour de Tucson. This is the 42nd year of Tour, started in the early 80s, and it's a charity event that raises funds for over 120 charities. And to date, we've raised over $130 million for all these charities in town. And there are different distances that you can do, a full 102 century, a 63-mile metric century, 32-mile ride, and then there's also a 1 mile and 5 mile kids fun ride, as well as a 5K run.
Matthew Riccatello called out that 5-mile fun ride as his first bike race yesterday. Do you guys feel responsible for launching him into the World Tour?
I don't know if we can take responsibility for it, but being a hometown kid, he definitely grew up riding Tour from the beginning and well past everything we've done.
And Andrew and I were lucky enough to be taken care of by your prologue camp before El Tour. Can you talk a little bit about if people want to sign up for it? Is it open to the public? And really, what is the aim of the prologue camp?
So the prologue is sort of a VIP program that was started 4 years ago. And we have the most amazing list of ex-pros, the biggest names in cycling, probably the most you'll find at any event. It's a chance to ride with them, basically a fantasy camp for cycling. You get to interact with, again, the biggest names, and it's dinners and kits, special rides, just a very personal experience. And everyone that comes is so down to earth. It's really amazing to be able to talk to these people because, as George Hincapie, sort of our captain of the prologue, once said, once you put on a kit and step over a bike, everybody's the same.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty amazing being around George, Jens Voigt, Bob Roll, Bobby Julich. It's really, and Christian Mandeveld, can't forget him. But it's really a special experience to get to hang out with those guys. And I was talking to one of the campers, and they were saying, well, I wanted to come out with my friend, but one day is not enough. And they found the prologue camp to be a nice solution to maybe spending a little bit more time in Tucson. And the question on everyone's mind is, can you do Mount Lemmon with the prologue camp, or do you have to do a different camp to do that?
So there's two sections to the prologue. There is what we call the extended prologue, where people come in on Sunday, the week before El Tour, and they do get to ride Mount Lemmon on Monday. And I know Chloe Dygert and Bobby Julich were both here for that. So they get to spend an extended time, do extra rides, see a little bit more of Tucson because besides El Tour, we have some of the best riding in the country. And it is hard to do and see all that when you're coming just for a couple days for El Tour. The prologue in general, it is open to the public. Anyone can sign up for it. It's a paid VIP experience. Generally starts on Wednesday evening with the dinner and introduction of all the pros who are here. Thursday and Friday we do sort of shakeout rides. We highlight some of the cool things to see in Tucson. The first year we went out to the San Javier Mission, which has been around for hundreds of years. This year we're lucky enough to go out to the brand new velodrome that opened in Tucson, the first aluminum velodrome track in the world. So it was very exciting to show some of these former hour record holder and world champions and see Bradley Wiggins ride around on our brand new tracks. Pretty special.
Andrew and I are big velodrome fans. We think that's like a good way to get people into cycling. I just spent a few months in London at Bradley Wiggins' home velodrome, Herne Hill, and like the things they do with the community is really impressive to see. Is that kind of the goal with the Tucson velodrome, to get people out there, kids out there, getting them riding track bikes from an early age?
Yeah, absolutely. They have certification classes. The ribbon cutting was November 12th. They've already started certification classes. The aim is to get our youth cycling out there. There's several programs in town that have youth cycling from every age, and absolutely get them out there, teach them the skills. And it's definitely gotten excitement from the community who ride already, maybe road, mountain, gravel. Here's another aspect that they can go out and do, and it's off the roads and a whole new learning experience. And it's going to draw people from all over. A lot of people do travel to LA currently to use the velodrome, which will be in the Olympics, and so they've already told us that that's going to be shut down for maintenance and prep for the Olympics. So hopefully Tucson is the logical place that they will come to do some training and preparation.
And how was the decision made to make it out of aluminum? Like, what was the process there?
So my understanding is that because it's an outdoor track, the thought on the aluminum is it would weather our conditions, the high heat and then the cold temperatures that we get in the desert at this time of year, the winter, and it will sort of expand and contract with the temperature and not have the maintenance upkeep. It's a very solid surface that they're not worried about degrading or splitting and having to do a lot of maintenance over time. So apparently the guy who came up with this is a genius, and it's really an interesting track. First thing people think of, it's in the desert, it's going to be super hot, but it's actually 20 to 40 degrees cooler than cement or asphalt, even in the heat of the summer. So it's going to be pretty cool.
That's really cool. That's super interesting. Yeah, because we have a wood velodrome in Boulder County that obviously takes a lot of care because it's outside. And then concrete could have problems in Tucson, but I think this is an incredibly beautiful part of the world. Thank you for having us down here. We're lucky to have done this.
We're super happy to have you here and show it off. This year we've set record attendance, over 11,000 participants across the different disciplines, hoping to raise somewhere around $8 million this year for all our charities. We've got people from every state, 26 different countries around the world. And the most amazing number to me is that 60% of participants are first timers.
It's incredible. I mean, to have a growing road event is really unique. So it's great to see what you guys are doing.
It's the team that puts it on, obviously the board of directors, we just sit back and say yes or no. And TJ Jiskowitz and his team do an absolutely amazing job. We get 500 volunteers the day of the event to help out with the expo, the traffic control, the municipalities, police departments that control the roads and keep it safe. It truly is a citywide effort. We like to show off our city, and we're happy to have you all here.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah.